Man, it's been raining for days. What's up, my people? There's another friend. We're out in the rain right now. I don't really want to be out in the rain, but I did my daily grounding and meditation. Hey, Melinda. Look at my buddy. These woods are alive right now. Supercharged. I built myself the Faraday cage for around my respiratory area, because who knows what is being rained down on us. We are right in the middle of the Orionids still until November 7th. And you know, it's raining. It's been raining for like a week or more over here. And this will help with some of the negative bacterias, harmful bacterias in the air around us and what we breathe in. And you know, I mean, it's complete proven that these products work. I mean, even when my wife and my daughter had a cold for like almost 2 weeks, they were you know, I had these things all over me and I didn't catch it. You know, they didn't have a fever or anything like that. It was just like a regular cold, you know. And man, I stayed away from it all, you know. And I was sleeping with them. My daughter was breathing in my face while she's sleeping, you know. Kissing my daughter all the time, you know, wiping her nose, you know, snot's getting all over me. So I couldn't have been more exposed to what she had, and I did not get it at all. I didn't have even, you know, this whole last 2 weeks, I didn't get sick at all, like that, at all. I have very important information to be discussing with you all, and I am making an announcement today. Two things I wanted to make an announcement here on Facebook today. Well, a couple announcements, a couple updates, right? So first, I just posted late last night my Halloween sales for the mysticalspiralstore.com. I have some of the moonstone already up. There's going to be more products added. I have to take some more pictures and weigh them, because some of them are real heavier, you know, and so, I have some of the rainbow moonstone labradorite already available on there. The wand, some of the wands and the obelisks, and some of the ones with the best sheen as well. You know, I put a list on the website of all of the qualities of this stone crystal, and rainbow moonstone is one of the best, especially for my genetic makeup, for the biology of my spirit and physical bodies. Best responds with moonstone and rain. In fact, labradorite and the combination of the two. So rainbow moonstone is like a white labradorite moonstone mix. You know, some people don't even want to call it a moonstone, but it is. It has qualities of the moonstone and labradorite, and it's very powerful. And you know, better scenery than looking at my copper caged face. So I have a lot of interesting stuff I want to talk about, because today, for my patrons, later this afternoon, right before dinner time, we're going to be doing a live discussion. And I'm also starting another sort of podcast, I guess you can say. Of course, I'll always have my show on Truth Frequency Radio as long as Truth Frequency Radio's there, and I'm welcome at the station. You know, I'm gonna have that platform, and I enjoy that show. But I'm also starting another YouTube show, similar to my Spiral Radio was. I'm not exactly sure what we're gonna be calling it. It's gonna be, you know, a podcast, video podcast, instead of, you know, because right now I do the radio. We're gonna do a video podcast as well, and eventually I of Ra will be live video once we get a better equipment and stuff like that for Truth Frequency Radio. So when we're on, see, I try to keep it exclusive to Truth Frequency Radio. A lot of people don't do that, you know. Even though I don't make money from the Truth Frequency Radio show at all in any way, I'm really doing it for free for all of you guys. I don't think you guys realize that. My Truth Frequency Radio show, you know, it's for free basically. I don't get any money from that. In the past, we made a little bit of commission, but now, you know, we're not making any commissions or anything from that because times are hard. So like, we basically do that show for free on Truth Frequency Radio, and I've been doing it for a few years now, and I really enjoy having that platform. And eventually, when I get a better setup, we're gonna do even, you know, different like more advanced editing and videos, where a lot of pictures and slides to go along. So that's my goal, to have these discussions really way more advanced, edited, and better material too, right? So not the better material, but better like video material, you know, for imagery and stuff like that as well. And I try to keep, I don't really do my Truth Frequency Radio shows live on YouTube because I want people to support the station. You know, if they want to listen to my radio show and my archives, they have to support Truth Frequency Radio and get the subscription. You know, you get the show free every week, but for the whole archives of all the radio shows that are on there, you know, it's like a small little fee a month for a subscription. So I kind of only broadcast my radio show on Truth Frequency Radio so people would support the station if they want to listen. So that's why I don't really understand why everybody's like doing the live feed on YouTube of the Truth Frequency Radio show, because most people, if they can get it, you know, it's one, they should actually do the live feed on YouTube, but then afterwards make it a private video, you know, so they could see the live feed just like for free, just like they can hear the live feed for free on Truth Frequency Radio. But if they want to go back and have the show for future watching, it's only available at Truth Frequency Radio. That's how it should be, you know. But so, because a lot of people aren't going to subscribe if they can just get the show for free on YouTube at any time, you know. So there's a reason why you're allergic to copper in the chat room, for sure. And there's other alternatives. And I definitely feel like something went wrong in an Egyptian connection to your copper allergy in a past life. But that's something we could look into later on, and if you ever want to get a reading or something like that. But I know for sure that's what I feel with that. So check this out. I'm not sure if you guys really know anything about a Faraday cage or, you know, copper cages, but basically a Faraday cage is what I have on my face right here. You know, it's an enclosed copper cage, and or any metal cage, you know, could be a Faraday cage. And people have done experiments, and part of the reason why I want to do another show, a podcast that's devoted to dissecting telepathic and psychic abilities. And one of them that is really important to discuss is channeling. And it's a very interesting subject, and it's a very dangerous subject. And if you guys have heard my information, wow, this is cool rock right here. If you guys have heard my information, you guys will have heard sometime or another me talk about the cosmic wars. Wars between what we call in Italian the benindante and the malandante. right? So these are the wars where that is happening in our higher dimensional system, if you want to say. It's happening in a parallel world to this one, a holographic world that is in our higher dimensional system, a coordinate, a quadrant, a chamber within the halls of a menti, if you want to say, within the halls of who we are. Something outside of this space-time continuum, this physical dimension, somewhere we can go within ourselves. All right, it's our physical body can shut off and go. Our souls, our spirit, whatever you want to say, is literally in some other program connected to us, right? And in this program is where the collective consciousness is fought over. There's a battle happening. Our collective consciousness is being mined for resources, memories, abilities, certain things that are in there. And there's a war going on over it. And there are certain people who have finished this third density before and have chose to come back and have chose to try to stop what takes place because of our future, where we are on our future race, who we are there, is far different than what we are now. Far different. There's, from what I have seen, there has been people that have transformed into insectoid type beings. There has been all sorts of different ways and branches humanity has gone down and become and transformed into. And it's interesting because this is not just mythology. This is something that I have taken part in. This is something that I've witnessed. This is part of my birthright. And I've experienced this. And the Ember days are on certain days of the year, like the equinox and the solstice. If you're not buying it, then you can actually leave the chat room. There's only positivity here. But look at it, up to it, brother. My hereditary bloodline and other bloodlines all over this planet have been dedicated to this information. And us Benindante, we are called the Good Walkers. And at certain times of the year, we will fall in a deep sleep during the equinox, during the solstice, and our souls travel. It's an astral travel, sort of spirit travel, and we're helping cleanse the collective consciousness of our communities and our people within our that we're connected to in on our squadron or quadrant or group. And there are clans and people all over the world that are connected to this. And it's a battle between the light and the dark. It's a battle between who we are. It's a battle between AI and spirit, if you want to say, light and dark, right? And this is how you pull information from these travels as well, from these experiences. And even during times of the year where there's meteor showers, I can catch a signal on certain places up in the mountains, certain places I don't even have, so let's dissect the spot before we go any deeper into the sleeping part. The sleeping part is very interesting to talk about because there's been all sorts of psychics and mystics that have tapped into psychic information and contacted some of these higher beings that exist in these realms. And there are some sort of, if you want to say, council that there's many councils that reside over different planets. And a lot of us that are being reborn now and reincarnated now, if you want to say, are fractal fractions of these ancient beings, trying to help humanity get back to a harmonic, higher frequency and a spiritual evolution. You know, you can spiritually evolve in the dark aspect as well. And that's where our harmonic resonant frequency on the planet is going towards now. A dark evolution. And we can change this. We can have a global wave of DMT come over our planet and change the collective consciousness. And the sleeping part is very interesting because you have many people that we could talk about that have been sleeping prophets, and they have contacted similar parts of who we are. And there's a difference when you're doing sleeping travels or astral travels or even any sort of psychic connection. Connecting to your higher self is truly important. Your body knows who you are on a higher dimensional level, your spirit, your bioenergetic system. But the amnesia of this realm when we're born, it sort of like turns it off, you know, in a way. And all of that information is in our unexpressed DNA, what they call junk DNA. And we can activate little bits and pieces of this, you know, by connecting to the torus field of our higher system and opening up that river of DMT, that global river, that higher dimensional river of light that drips down from a higher dimension. And Edgar Cayce is one of them. See, it's very dangerous when you go into the higher dimensional system and to obtain information and you let something embody you and you become the instrument. See, this is very dangerous. And it's happened many, many times that we could talk about. This is when somebody will go into the sleeping state, a trance, and not know what they were doing. And something will embody them. They'll even be speaking out information in their sleep that they are unaware of when they wake up. This is when they are being embodied, being controlled by a higher entity. And it's being controlled with a specific agenda and a specific reason that most likely is not beneficial to us. What follows is pain, death, or some sort of disease or troubles. And I know Edgar Cayce was even getting taken advantage of when he would obtain information in his sleep. And I do think, from my opinion, that where's the guy too that wanted to say if anybody's believing this crap? I hope he left, dude. I hope he's out of here because I don't even want that energy while I'm talking. But if you want to debate anytime and tell me why you think it's so full of crap, I'm willing to hear your intelligent conversation that you're willing to have. But Edgar Cayce, in my opinion, was the one who channeled the Urantia papers, and he was getting embodied by some sort of seraphim. And I also think that Dr. Puharich and some of his information was pretty interesting, because I do feel that he was communicating with part of this higher dimensional system. And most times somebody will come across the information of the Nine, the Council of Nine, that is part of the oneness of the universe and the principles of the universe and the Mats, the harmonic law of the universe. And this is similar information, the things that I have received in some of my work. And I'm about to unleash a lot of information over the next month or two that I think is really important we get this out now, because there's no telling what's going to happen with this world and what's taking place. But I have a lot of stuff that I've been waiting to talk about, you know, and it's very interesting because Dr. Puharich was right here in the Hudson Valley of New York for a lot of his time. He had an estate about 20 minutes from here, not even 20 minutes from here, about 15 miles from here. My dad's office was in the same town of my dad's old business in the 1980s, 1990s. I knew exactly where his estate was. You know, I had taken pictures of it back in the day. Because there were, you know, it was in the news at one time too, because they were going to build like they were going to build something over that area when it was up for sale. They were going to demolish it and build something there. But Dr. Puharich worked for the military as well for a long period of time, and he was doing experiments like the Project Penguin, and he was doing experiments with the Faraday cage. And he even was involved in the Stargate with remote viewing, right? So, some people called him Henry Puharich, but his name was like Andrei Puharich, Dr. Puharich. And, hey, what's up, Sammy? So, in the 1950s or 1960s, Dr. Puharich got this Indian mystic Vinod, this guy D.G. Vinod, right? And he put him in a copper Faraday cage. And the Navy was involved with all of this, and they put him in a insulated copper Faraday cage where no other electromagnetic disturbances can come in there. And he started communicating with a force that called itself the Nine, and called itself Atum. And Atum is one of the Aeonid, the creation gods, the 9 Aeonid of the ancient Egyptian creation stories, right? Coming out of Memphis and those areas. And they also had the 8 Ogdod, these reptilian and amphibious creators that emerged, right? So during these communications, Atum said he was part of the 9, the Council of 9. And he received a lot of interesting information. In fact, for those that don't know, the man who created Star Trek was frequenting Dr. Puharich's experiments and visited Dr. Puharich for months and months and months at a time. For a couple of years, they had contact. And this is how he came out with the whole concept of Deep Space Nine. And all of that from Star Trek, the Next Generation, and the 9, the Deep Space Nine, that is all connected to the Council of 9 and real channelings. So for those that don't know, and there's a reason why I didn't want to watch Star Trek for many years until recently, you know. So this is very interesting. And you know that Dr. Puharich also was having contact with Don Elkins and Carlo Ruckert, who channeled the Law of One from Ra. And you know, Carlo Ruckert was becoming embodied during sleep, just like Edgar Casey. And they were channeling an entity that called itself Ra. You know, my name is Ralph Anthony, but there's also a reason why I use those initials. You know, there's my friend started calling me Ra about 25 years ago or so. But it's sort of like encoded in who I am. There's some sort of connection I have to this ancient force as well. And I do feel I'm back here to help the harmonic resonance frequency information of our planet be found again, so we can have some sort of spiritual evolution and free harmonious law among us again. And I'm here, just like millions of others that are here, to make sure this world doesn't get to the state that it did once before. And ultimately, God brings comet impacts before the world can collide into itself, before we totally make dimensions collide and converge and collapse into itself, into the singularity, back into the black hole. Before this happens, comet impacts are brought to change the chemistry of the planet, to change the rotation of the planet, to change the whole wobble and structure of the planet. You know, Carla Rueckert was being embodied through, you know, they would put her to sleep, they would cover her face with a white cloth, they would open up the Bible to a certain verse that she was connected to. You know, all of this was going on. A chalice, they were doing all this stuff, right? And Ra would speak to her while she was basically asleep. She was unaware of what was being done while they were recording it. And Don Elkins was asking the questions. You know, after this channeling for a couple of years, the reason why it ended was because Don Elkins blew his brains out. Okay? He couldn't eat anymore. The psychiatric and the police were outside ready to bring him into the loony bin, and he blew his brains out before they can get him. So that's how that ended, for those that don't know. And then later on, Corey Goode now claims that that was being channeled by the Blue Avians, the Ra Law of One, you know. So all of this channeling is very, very interesting. It goes all the way back thousands of years to the Sibyls, the Sibyllines, even embodying the meteorites, the Sibyl seers, and this is encoded in my ancestry and many, many millions of others out there. Like when I say this about my DNA, I'm not saying it that I'm more special than anyone else. We have this encoded within us. And I happen to be shown through certain, you know, I've had near-death experiences. I've had certain things happen to me where I've awakened some of the knowledge that is inside of me. And, you know, and I've found, you know, and it's been known within my family that this exists within our timeline. It's encoded in my very name. Look at, and the bells back me up, brother. So I know this is hard for some people to share, to hear, to talk about. But I have been receiving telepathic information most of my life, and it took very long for me to translate what was taking place. And to me, it is my higher self communicating with me, trying to put me on the right path, where I can actually filter all the negative energy within myself and the people I have contact with the right way. Right now, I'm not fully doing that, and most 99.9% of the other people on the planet aren't as well. Right now, there's certain things that I can't figure out in my own life, you know, to find the right aspect of harmony. We all are dealing with certain things. We all have certain gifts. So you could believe me or not about what I'm talking about. I mean, of course, a lot of it is my own personal experiences, but the history and information that I'm giving to you about that, you can all research from what I've been talking about since day one. You know, I've been studying and looking for answers from things that I've witnessed for over 30 years. So that's why I'm starting a new podcast as well, another podcast, because we're going to be dissecting channeling and comparing some of the information that I've received from my higher self through meditations and other ways at certain sites, and talk about it, because I do think a lot of the channeling information has real information in there. They're really pulling it from the eternal memory of our higher dimensional system. But there's there's a catch. When somebody is being embodied by something, there's a mask going on. There's some sort of deception going on somewhere. And you should never have to go through a middleman to achieve information. And anytime you hear channeling, usually it sounds like very, very slow, and it's milking your energy. It's sucking your energy slowly. And it usually, people afterwards, they feel really drained. Like when I do readings on people and I have to connect to somebody else in any way, afterwards I feel drained. But when I receive telepathic communication through connecting to my higher self, afterwards I'm energized. I've never been so alive. And when I do fall asleep, it's the most vivid imagery and travels. This is the difference and the dangers of channeling. When you're being embodied by something, afterwards you will feel tired, you will feel fatigued, drained, sickly even. And I've had things try to embody me. I know the difference. I've awoken up from some of my travels before, in my nighttime, and especially during an Ember day time, during the days of the Ember days, where I go to wake up and I open my eyes, and it's almost like, you know, what they call about paralysis, sleep paralysis, but it's a little different. When I open my eyes and I go to raise my arms off the bed, but something is like, no, back in your body. It's almost like it's pulling your spirit out and shoving it back, and like it trying to literally, like, you try to get up, but this thing's holding your physical body down and trying to pull your astral body out. Literally trying to hold you down, and you go to scream and you can't even get it out of your throat. It's like freezing your whole biosystem, and you have to